Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to I guess we'll still say 19 cousins. I'm not sure if it's 19 anymore, but Indiana Fever post game. That was that was an ugly one all around. I mean, there's some good things to take out of it. There's some really bad things as well, unfortunately. Caitlin Clark set the single season assist record. So that was kind of cool. She did it on a Kelsey Mitchell three, if I believe, and I think I have that here before we go to the box score and get to some other stuff. Might as well go ahead and show this. Sorry that it's a little blurry. It looks like someone just did this right off of their TV. Let me see. All right. Oh, see, it's so blurry. I even missed the beginning of it. But this is record-setting assist 317. We'll look at that one more time since it was so short. Got him back within 5 after a terrible start. Fever only had 13 points the first quarter. So that right there, that's cool. That's something to to celebrate. But look, man, Caitlin Clark was not good these last two games against the Aces. But you know what? I don't think Asia Wilson was either. Took her 28 shots to get 27 points last game. She shot terribly. She missed 5 or 6 layups. She was 6 of 15 tonight for only 15 points. Yeah, she had 17 rebounds, but she's their center. She's their rebounder. I don't care that she had 17 rebounds. The Indiana Fever out rebounded the Las Vegas Aces 35-31. So what if Wilson got 17 of them? Because check this number out, folks. 0 offensive rebounds. So the defensive rebounds, that should be expected. She's your rebounder. She didn't get any offensive at all. None of the starters did. One offensive rebound for the entire game by the Las Vegas Aces is embarrassing. I mean, that's an embarrassing number. I didn't realize till just now as I'm looking at this that it was really like that. That's bad. Did the Fever got some, didn't they? Yeah, they got 3. There wasn't a whole lot of offensive rebounding in this game, but look, for better or worse, this was not the Las Vegas Aces offense, and they have supposedly a really good offense. I don't know how good it is without the fact that the officials do everything they can. And from what I've seen, it's not just against the Fever, but more blatantly so. But this may be the most official aided, referee aided team in all of sports. I'm not sure that they're a playoff team without the referees. I know that's a little over the top. I'm going to get people screeching, but that's okay. I don't mind making people screech and cry. It's kind of fun, but it really is embarrassing. And we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, the Aces were not good offensively. They shot 40% from the field, only 30% from three. So that job was done. Unfortunately, the Indiana Fever were terrible offensively themselves. Um, Caitlin Clark did not have a basket in the first half. Did not have a basket in the first half. Let me just double check. I think I marked down what she was. Did I mark down what she was for the game for the first half? No, I didn't. I thought I had, but it was wait. Oh, here it was. She was 0 for 5, 0 for 2 from 3, 0 for 2 from the line, 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, and a ridiculous tech. She did have 6 assists. I mean, she wasn't terrible. She just couldn't make a shot. And of course, Mitchell was the reason she was the saving grace in the first half. But we'll get that in a second because I think I have it lined up here. I want to get to, first of all, we've got this, folks. This is something that was not called. Here, she's going to come by the drive. Boom, elbow right to Aaliyah Boston's jaw. But apparently that's not a foul. Not when you're the Las Vegas Aces. That's not a foul. And then we had, once again, this absolute nonsense where Caitlin Clark is she's frustrated. She slaps that, and guess what? She gets a technical again. Will Christy Sides get off her freaking ass and actually do something about it? No, she didn't do a damn thing. Her team was mugged 2 games in a row, all game, and she's done nothing. Will they challenge this and get it rescinded like they should have done with the other ridiculous technical that she got, technical 5, I believe was it against Seattle? You think they'll try and maybe get this one rescinded? And then we had this call as well. Let me make sure I have this from the beginning, right? Then we had this called against Caitlin Clark for an offensive foul. I mean, if you're not calling that as against a defender, all right, you know what? I can understand it with the lean, but how is that offensive, especially when we saw last game against the Aces 2 nights ago, where the Aces are literally jumping off their feet and completely changing direction and going sideways into a defender just standing there, and they get a call for them when it clearly should have been offensive. I don't want to get to this yet, so what are we doing here? No, we'll stop that. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous by the officiating. Sorry about that if you heard that. Was that on mute? But and the thing that makes it even worse is that, again, as I was just starting to say and getting wound up, Christy Sides is terrible. Just for all of you who are turning around, you have what? Let me know the guy I always forget Dan's last name at Outkick, who's telling us she's coach of the year. She's terrible. She's always been terrible. The Fever just had a great run despite her. She's never changed. She never defends her players. Understand, it's not just Caitlin Clark in terms of in-game with the officiating. It's her entire team. She never protects her players. Remember earlier in the season, way back when she said they can't do that. She's got to be the one to get the technicals. I think she got one the next game and hasn't gotten one since. She wants to complain about her players complaining, who, whether you agree with the complaining or not, which is the reaction, there were legitimate reasons for it, and I can see why the Fever have been getting frustrated. I don't like it. Again, a little bit of what Caitlin Clark was doing tonight was kind of getting to me because I wanted her to get her head back into the game. But I understand it because the officials, to me, this is almost to the point of criminal, that this is corruption, folks, especially when you factor in everything that you can bet on nowadays. But there needs to be an investigation into the officiating in the WNBA because it can't possibly just be incompetence. It's just too bad. But flip side, Becky Hammon got a call changed tonight without even having to ask for an official review simply because she complained. That is absolutely crazy. But anyway, Fever offense, still trouble. You know, they didn't run enough. I think they ran the most in the third quarter. And that's what, because they don't run until they get behind double digits. And then that's when Caitlin Clark says the heck with this and she picks up the pace herself. And then they get back into the game and then they slow it down. The third quarter clearly was their best quarter as a team. It's the only quarter that they won. They only had 13 points the first quarter. The third quarter was 22-17 in favor of the Fever. Not coincidentally, Caitlin Clark, who didn't score in the first half, had 14 points in the third quarter alone to the Aces 17. Caitlin Clark was 6 of 9 and 2 of 4 from 3 to the Aces 7 of 18 and 2 of 9 from 3. So she had 14 of her 18 points in the third. Unfortunately, that means she only had 4 in the fourth quarter, and she missed a couple free throws. And then another problem is Kelsey Mitchell. And I don't mean in this instance, I'm not saying Kelsey Mitchell is a problem. This game was over by the end of the first half if it weren't for Kelsey Mitchell, who was 8 of 14, 3 of 6 from 3, and had 19 points in the first half. Now, she only had 20 for the game, people, 20. But here's the kicker. It's not because Kelsey Mitchell went cold. Players go cold. Players they go cold on makeable open shots. The first shot of the game was by Caitlin Clark. She got a really good look on a three, and it wasn't even close. It happens. The problem is Kelsey Mitchell only got 2 shots in the second half, and that is just unacceptable. How does your offense go from Kelsey Mitchell being 8 of 14 in the first half to only taking 2 shots in the second? Yeah, I was going to say that I was hesitating thinking it was in the quarter, but no, the entire second half she took 2 shots. I think Caitlin Clark took only 3 shots in the fourth. When you're down, you're playing catch up, and you're closing in the game. That's also not good. Dantas was fantastic off the bench, absolutely fantastic off the bench. 16 minutes, she had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. So that was huge. And I will say this because I want to be consistent with it. I've said in the past, and oh, by the way, Dantas has to stop having games where she plays 5 minutes. And I've said in the past, the downside with Dantas, from what I've seen, is that she struggles in the running game. If the game's up tempo offensively, that's a struggle for her. But 2 things to counter that. Sides only seems to let them run when they get down double digits anyway, right? They're not running as much as they should. And Dantas makes the terrible or maybe non-existent half-court system they use a lot easier for the team to be effective because she spaces the floor so much better than Fagbenley or Boston or Smith, because Dantas is a legitimate 3-point shooter. She is a legitimate 3-point shooter, folks, and that is huge as well. Also, Lexi Hull taking 2 shots all game. And again, that goes back to no flow and no system with the half court. And if they're not running, it's a problem. So what you get is you get Mitchell or you get Clark trying to just create something out of nothing, and you never know what you're going to get out of that. So I believe, let me see. And this was a great play by Dantas here. Hopefully I can show this. Sometimes the long ones, they like to say you can't show this, but we have, okay, great steal, terrible camera work. What the heck? And then we've got great pass in. By the way, also great job by Fagbenley there. Did you see where she was able to post up? She got deep and then pivoted and took away her defender under the basket. So as soon as that ball gets dumped in, I mean, you can't defend it. You're under the basket. And then I believe this is a Dantas also does the same. She pins her down in a great position, and that is an absolutely fantastic shot. I mean, Dantas shoots like she's a guard. And she can score under the basket. She can score mid-range. She can score from the 3. And I think let me just see if this is the one. That's not the one. Oh, where is it? Well, I'll find. I thought I had another play by Dantas that I really liked. But also, by the way, this is just this is the steal and the layup by Clark that got it down to single digits. But one thing I really wanted to point out is watch the layup, especially against the bigger player. She goes right at her, gets by her, and see the reason she goes right-handed. You see how she did that? She got by A'ja Wilson, and then she went in front to cut her off, and then she went with her right hand there because by doing that and twisting her body, she makes it a tougher layup for herself, but she uses the basket to protect against a potential blocked shot. Really, really smart play by Caitlin Clark. And then let's see what else we had that was positive. I think this is just Clark going to the basket. But also you see if as soon as she gets this, let me just okay. As soon as she gets this, again, see they they've got down, they're down double digits, and they're closing it by running. This is when you get look at her go. This is when you get Clark pushing the pace, which she is not allowed to do unless they get down. And that's a great finish, by the way. That is not an easy shot. But did you see how quickly she went? The defense never gets set. The defense never gets to match up with whom they want to match up. Advantage fever. I don't care how good the other team is defensively. If you don't allow them to get set and to get organized, and you force them into mistakes because they have to do everything perfectly or at least a lot better when they don't get that chance because they have to communicate quickly. They have to make the right calls with their communication. They have to match up with whomever they're near and understand what they're doing both individually and as a team while everything's still in flux. And they need to be doing more of that. Oh, sorry, I didn't think that was running. This was just an example of, yeah, this is when you know that she's feeling it again and she's back. And it's just that is a very, very difficult shot to stop. Yeah, unfortunately we didn't close out and but that's just tough, folks. And then I think, yeah, this is I don't want to show too much. I'll end up not being able to show these to you. But let me just get it up here. The reason says what it says, I believe they're correct. She was actually 0 for 6 at this point, but she doesn't lack confidence, right? And by the way, same thing, Kelsey Mitchell. They will both continue to shoot, and when it's a shot they should take, I have no problem, right? I think, and I've said this before, Kelsey sometimes it gets a little more of well, actually, she does it more when she's hot. When Kelsey gets hot, sometimes she starts taking shots she shouldn't. But if she's not hitting good shots, absolutely keep taking them. You never tell a shooter to pass up good shots. That's just not a good idea. Now, this, folks, I think it just went blurry on you. So, but this is a great play. I don't know why it's blurry, but what? But hopefully you can still see this. I don't know what the heck just happened to it. It was fine a minute ago. Behind the back, up, and now it kicks back. But watch, see where Boston gets this? Earlier in the season, she was hitting these. Then she kind of stopped taking them. Now she's going to take this one and she's going to hit it. But did you see? And I stopped there because I wanted to get it a little bit sooner. If watch where look where Asia Wilson is and look at the way she's playing. She's okay with Boston having that. She then realizes it's going to be a shot and she does try and make it difficult, which is correct. But she gives her that space because she either thinks she's not going to shoot or she's okay with it. And if Boston starts making those more consistently, it changes what the defense does. And either the way you combat come combat picks in terms of coming over the top or coming underneath or switching, it must change if you realize that you are going to have to contest shots from there from Boston, which again, by the way, is why I love Dantas in that role because they know they have to contest those, and it completely changes how the defense handles things. We're gonna okay, yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the pump fake, which is why I wanted to show it again, leading into what I'm talking about with Dantas and what she brings to the game. Oh no, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, pop. Okay, so she pops out, right? So we've got that player. She got the switch. Great awareness and reaction by Dantas to switch that when Caitlin goes corner to switch because of how she was guarded to pop out. Now you're going to see the defense if you can see right now, is in a position she's closing quickly because, again, Dantas is a 3-point threat. And since Dantas is a 3-point threat, not only do you have to close, you may overreact and close quickly. And then the end result is this simple little pump fake, step inside, so smooth. She has such a smooth release. I love the way she releases the basketball. By the way, I'd love for her to work with Nalissa Smith because Nalissa Smith, I feel one of the reasons she's very inconsistent with her shot and doesn't shoot free throws well is because she brings the ball too far behind her head. Dantas brings it up high, but it's still in front of her head. It's a nice, smooth release. And I know people are going to be upset with what I'm about to say, but it honestly looks more like a typical male player's release. And if you notice, a lot of women, and it's just a simple, strength issue, a lot of women release much lower or they release low from the side, you know, near their shoulder instead of in front, which one, I don't think it's as accurate. And it's obviously more easily blocked. But there were some things like that. Some of the things I showed you, some really good things tonight. I don't think they ran enough. Obviously, they had struggles with the officiating. One thing I do want to point out, which is why I saved it for last, and this is unacceptable, folks. And I will say, put everything aside with this game, the officiating, right? The bad start from Caitlin Clark, the Mitchell having a great first half and then only getting 2 shots in the second, not running up, like all that, put that away. And then this right here cost them the game. 11 for 20 from the line as a team. 55% is unacceptable by a professional basketball team. Completely unacceptable. Should never, ever happen. Never, ever happen. Do you realize even if they had made 2 more and shot a terrible 65%, that changes how the end of the game was because those last couple 2-3 possessions they had down 2 scores, they're only down 1 score. Completely changes everything. And to be fair, yes, Nalissa Smith 1 of 4, but it's not just on her. Mitchell 1 of 2. Unusual. I mean, she only shot 2, but still. Clark missed her first 2, only shot 2 of 4. She's second in the league at 90%. I don't think she's missed 2 in a row all season long. Bentley, 0 of 2. Dantas, even though she's 4 of 6 and 2 of 2 on threes, only hit 1 of her 2 free throws. That completely changes the game. And then we go back to end of game. I realize they're battling 2 score and they're thinking that maybe it's not a big deal, but I don't understand that play call at all. It looked like the first option was, can Mitchell create and get her own shot quickly? And if not, the second option is Boston from 3 in the corner. No, there was nothing at all in that design that was for Clark. Again, a decoy. Look, I get it. They're thinking it's going to be for her, but you still run something for her that you sure can get her the ball at least, and then go from there. So, but leaving the play as it was, I'd rather have Dantas be the option in the corner than Boston. No offense to Aaliyah, but Dantas is a better 3-point shooter, and they're down 5. There's not a lot of time left. At that point, when Mitchell got into the paint, I'd rather her just continue with that layup and get the 2 points quickly and possibly draw a foul than to kick that back out to Boston for a 3-pointer. Now, final 2 games, Wings and Mystics. Wings and Mystics. Wings at home, Mystics away. Both winnable games, but as we know, with the play against those teams, both very losable games as well. And you don't want it's unlikely. Look, it's unlikely that Phoenix is going to catch them. But you really, first of all, for momentum going into the playoffs, you want to go in at a high note. They win both. They have a winning record, which is huge considering the way they started. That means most likely they're going to play Connecticut. Connecticut plays Phoenix. They might probably even play in as I'm doing this, but most likely not. It's not a done deal yet. But again, Minnesota's 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 5 in a row. So it's most likely they play Connecticut. I'd rather them play Connecticut than Minnesota. But these last 2 games are so important because they just, again, very winnable game against the Aces. But they just haven't looked good in 4 or 5 games. They've looked great in stretches, right? That Atlanta game, they looked great in their comeback, but it looked scary in how far behind they got to then have to come back. Way too often they seem to be getting down double digits and having to come back. Maybe let's come out with a different offensive strategy instead of and by the way, that reminds me, one last thing I'll give you because it drove me nuts. I actually saw at one point, and I can't remember off what the play was, but I actually heard sides, and this was in the second half, where I could see her mouthing that she didn't want that play. She wanted to get it into the paint. And, I'm like, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate you checking this out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about how they played, about what you think about the possibility of winning those last 2, if you think that's even important. I don't know. Maybe they clinch the 6th spot if Phoenix loses tonight. I think no, because they can still lose 21, so they still don't clinch it. But if they clinch it next game, maybe Caitlin Clark, maybe Kelsey Mitchell, maybe some of those players don't play nearly as much in the last game to get them a little bit of rest. But I think it's good for them to win the final 2. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. We got to replace all the Fever fans that abandoned me because of that. Oh, man. Anyway, I'll talk to you later.